again, everyone. We're going to be doing a simple 5-card spread with the Osho Zen cards. So I'm going to bring the Osho Zen over here, and I can take my crystal off of it. I'm going to clear the deck. And then I'm going to hand it to my client to shuffle. So they're shuffling the cards. Even though I'm shuffling them, they're shuffling the cards. And the way they put them down is the way you're going to be reading from them. Now again, take your deck, and either they cut it or you cut it into 3 stacks. It really doesn't matter. I prefer to let my client or querent do it, because it puts their responsibility and their energy into the cards. Now I can deal off the top of the deck like this, and a lot of intuitives do that. But let's just say that the client really wants to pick their cards. So I spread the cards out, and I ask them with their non-dominant hand, let's say they are left-handed, then their subconscious hand would be the right hand. And I have them pick 5 cards. Now normally when I'm reading with a tarot, I'll do what's called a Celtic spread, a 10-card spread, or a 12-card spread. I have some really more in-depth spreads that I use, but today, we're just going to be learning a simple 5-card spread and how to read it from the Osho Zen, which is actually, I use it as an oracle deck, although some people might use it as a tarot deck. So let's say my client is right-handed. So with my left hand, or with their left hand, they're going to pick cards. So I have them put them down in front of me. So they're going to pick. They've already focused on their question. I'm focusing on their question with them. And so here are the 5 cards. Now I'm going to pick up the rest of the cards. And in future spreads, I'll show you how to add additional cards to a reading. Here's the very important key, is you want to put them back into the order that they chose them. That's very important. So you just take from the top and put them back in order. Then you have the exact order that they picked each card. And again, instead of flipping them this way, this way, you're going to be turning them sideways. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You will notice that one of the cards came up reversed, but with oracle cards, I do not read reversed, and the same applies to the tarot, and I'll go into that in later videos when I use an actual tarot deck. Now, some people very often read the tarot reversed. I see no need to. Most every situation is covered beautifully with the cards upright. But as in the yes-no spread that you just saw the video for, hopefully, and if you haven't, you can click on the 3-card or the 5-card yes-no video, and you can watch how I did that. But my client has asked me if they're going to be moving, and to, give them some insight on about that, if it's going to happen anytime soon, if it would be a good thing for them to do. So here we go. We're going to start with the reading. All right, I am seeing that this position right here, I'll explain the positions before I start reading what I'm getting regarding this question. This position here is the situation. Okay, this right here are the past influences on it. Anything that might have led up to where they are at this present time, that they are considering a major life change like this. Okay, We're assuming too that maybe they're thinking of moving out of state, which is a major deal. Okay, this is how they really feel about it. This is revealing their true inner feelings, not just what their mind is telling them, but what is really going on underneath the surface with this person regarding this question. All right, this represents right here, and I'm just going to put it upright because, again, I don't read oracle readings reversed. This is what others may be thinking about the situation or other influences around the querent. And then this here is the probable future outcome. Now, I want to mention that anytime you do a reading for a client, when you get an outcome card, sometimes they're very grim looking, and I have to say that there are so many virtual realities that are possible that we can only conjecture, or this is the way it looks right now if you continue on your present course. If you don't make any major changes in what you're doing between now and then, if you follow the way you're going right now, then this is going to be the probable outcome. So that's how you would read outcomes, and we'll be talking more about this in future videos. But let's get down to the reading itself. What I'm sensing is that this person probably has been offered a new job or a promotion in another state. In other words, this change in location for them is not being brought about because they have lost a job, or they just feel like they would like to get up and, let's say, experience the Pacific Northwest, a move from Dallas to, let's say, Seattle. That's what's on their mind. So I feel like they've garnered a lot of achievements, a lot of kudos at work, so much so that they've actually been offered a promotion, but it does mean that they're going to have to pick up and make a fairly major move. And in this case, my client has family, she has a husband, she has children. So there's a lot to think about because everyone's going to be impacted. But it does look as though this is really setting the tone for the rest of the reading. It's just a really good base card, and there's really a lot of celebration around the situation. Okay, what has gone on in the past, whether maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or maybe even in the last few months, there has been kind of a major change that has gone on with this person. And I'm picking up psychically that at one point they just weren't sure, after having children, let's say, am I going to continue on as a career person, or am I going to stay home and raise my children? But I feel as though my querent has really gone through some changes and made this inner decision to really work on a career and see how far she can take herself with this career. And she's really tamed a lot on the inside. You can see the lion and the person with the flute kind of seducing and calming the lion. And here's the camel going across the desert in a very, methodical way. What this is telling me basically is that the client's just been through a lot of changes and really worked with her own inner fear. And so she's been able to move along without feeling encumbered in any way, and just really letting the universe unfold and see where she goes in her living. Okay, now this next card is how the client might feel on a very deep level about this question, about this opportunity. And it looks as though there were some fears about how everybody is going to be impacted once again. And I'll show you this card close up so you can see it. What I feel is that the client is merging into, they're emerging out of kind of a status quo and maybe feeling like they've been working hard behind the scenes. You can see the shadow figure. And this opportunity is offering a chance to move kind of out of the background into more of a responsible or management position. And my client is really coming into their own and realizing, yes, I can handle this. Yes, I can manage 20 people in a department. I really don't have anything to fear. And also, any hidden drawbacks, really taking a real good look at everything very carefully, kind of reading between the lines, so to speak, or even reading between the lines of a contract and looking at different possibilities and the what ifs that could happen. But all in all, to me, this is an emerging card. This is like coming into one's own and feeling very calm. With the blue color I get, feeling very calm about it. Okay, I like to move my cards around when I'm reading, and if anybody sat down with me for a reading, they'll notice, when I touch the cards, I seem to get a lot of clairsentient vibes from them. I just get more information when I move the cards around, and then also it keeps me from getting into my analytical mind and reading the meaning of the card and getting more into my intuitive self just by this action, just kind of caressing the cards. I'm getting out of my left brain, pardon me. I'm getting out of that analytical left brain, and I'm shifting more into the right brain where our intuition lies and brings forth information. So here I am moving the cards. All right. Now we're going to move into other influences. Sometimes I'll just kind of put these over here so that I can really focus. This is transformation, and it also corresponds to the death card in the tarot, but that's all the death card means in the tarot is rebirth and transformation. And so it's interesting that already in the deck we have another rebirth card here in the spread. All right, so the transformation is really the phoenix rising from the ashes. You can see the bird coming up. And I feel as though those around my querent are going through changes themselves. It could be immediate family, it could be friends, but they are having to realize that my querent has a life of her own and that she has hopes and dreams and pathways she wants to follow, so that those around her may have to go through a transformation themselves, feeling that those around her are going through a change and a transformation themselves. It could be at her workplace that people are looking at her differently. It could be that her company is going through a major change. Maybe it's totally moving around the higher management and all those things filter down into lower management and then, the regular employees. It could be that children are getting old enough, possibly, to start school so that they may be able to go through their own kind of shift and change and maybe start kindergarten. I'm just kind of coming up with different ideas since I don't have a querent in front of me, responding to what I'm saying. But all in all, I feel like the transformation is going to be very excellent for all that are concerned. I also have to mention that in this situation, The husband is very flexible, and he's very happy for his wife, so he's very supportive of her. And he works from home, so it really doesn't matter, if he has to get up and move. But it's a family decision, and everybody's involved, and so everybody's going to have to go through kind of a death and rebirth, and start accepting the fact that this really could happen, this could take place. Okay? So I also get the feeling of the subconscious mind here. If you look very carefully, if you have the Osho Zen on the transformation card, there is a face that is dreaming and with the eyes closed. So I feel like there's a lot going on in the dream level here, really giving a lot of information, and possibly dreams could be chaotic or fearful or even nightmares, because this is a big change. All right, so there we go with the influences around my querent. And the outcome is kind of an interesting card. It's called receptivity, and to me, this card really does correspond to the Queen of Cups in the Tarot. It's a woman who is very intuitive herself. She's kind, she's caring, she cares about others a great deal, very feminine, really has a spiritual aspect to her, very balanced, very centered, but feeling like, she's in the feminist movement, so to speak, or this new age of femininity in the workplace without being the shark, feminist shark that goes for the throat. This person has become very self-confident and really can get others to do a lot just by, a few simple words, and doesn't have to mow over everyone else to get something done. But I feel like celestial influences are coming in here, and I'm going to show you this card up close again. See the stars? And there's a lot of lines, and to me those are karmic lines. This could represent past life connections to guides, to the angelic realm. I feel like the crown chakra is very open. And so as the outcome card, I feel as though this person, my client, my querent, really should go for this move, really should let all fears drop away and immediately start to make plans. First of all, accept the position, get the contract signed before doing anything. You never want to make a major change in a job change without getting that contract signed, and then getting all the ducks in a row, getting everything in order. I feel like, too, that I'm getting a feeling like she does need to check her health. I feel like she may be a little run down right now because of all this going on, so she may want to go get a doctor's checkup. There might be a little bit of immune system stuff going on where she really needs to build up that immune system, especially with something stressful ahead like the move. I feel like she's just ready. At this point in time, she's just ready. Look at the arms up and bring it on. I'm really ready to tackle this. I have support from my family, and this is the right time in my life. I feel together. I feel stable. I just need to, get a little stronger on the inside with my health. And then also, there's a lot of excitement. I'm moving by water. Remember, they're going to Seattle. I love the water. Maybe she's a water sign, like a Pisces, Scorpio, or Cancer sun sign, and just really, really wants to get close to the ocean. And so it's a spiritual move. It feels like it's going to be good on all three levels, body, mind, and spirit. This is an excellent, excellent outcome card. Now, what if the success card had come up as the outcome card? Well, obviously, the success card is, a real strong and vital card. And, there's absolutely absolutely nothing wrong with this card if it came up as the outcome. It would be a much desired card. But sometimes, when we get what we think we want, the celebration is short term, and then as reality sets in, maybe it wasn't everything we thought it was going to be. So to me, the success card is a wonderful card, but it can also be short term. So when I get a card like this as the outcome, it's really showing me, as opposed to totally material, it's really showing me a lot of spiritual aspects to the answer to this 5-card spread. And again, there's so many different levels being considered that it looks to me like it's really excellent for long term. Like, this isn't going to be for a year. It might be for 10 years, and they're ready for that. So here you have it. That's the 5-card spread with the Osho Zen. And I'm hearing somebody ask me, one of my clients, are you sure you don't read reverse? No, I do not read them reversed. If I get a reverse card, then I just place it upright. Another question I get is, can I add more cards onto a reading? Absolutely. All right, I'm just going to show you very quickly. Let's just put out 5 cards. Here's the reading. It's, I'm not sure what the question is, but if you remember, and I'm going to have in the video the spread and the placement and what each card means. This is the situation, this is the past, this either recent or distant past events that have kind of led to what's going on today. And then this is how the client feels. Ooh, they're not really great in this spread. About maybe deep down they're really kind of sad about it all. This is other influences. It came up reverse, so I upright it. And other people, in this particular spread, this looks like a flowering, so they're all happy about it. And then the outcome is possibilities. Now, again, I don't really have a question that the client asked or querent, but let's just say they want to find out about this sorrow. So you can put 3 more cards. Either the querent chooses them, or you can take them right off the top of the deck. Oftentimes, I will take them right off the top of the deck to save time. Let's say it's a 15-minute reading, and you don't have time to spread out cards and have them choose cards because it cuts short their reading time. So very often I'll just take 3 off the top. And it really works. Believe me, I don't know how it works out, but it really does. So you can take the sorrow card and find out more about what's going on with it with these 3 cards. I hope I'm not juggling them around too much. But it gives you the intuitive, so much more information on a card that just doesn't fit the question, or there just needs to be more that has to be looked at, that needs to be explained, and possibly giving reasons for certain other cards that have come up in this spread. I never put out more than 3, because then you're going to dilute your reading. Let's say you put out this and this and this and this. I mean, you could, but then you might as well forget the rest of the cards. Can you put out 3 cards on other of the 5 cards? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And because this is a very, very good, simple spread, as you can see, if you decide to keep putting cards out, and you don't have to go in order, like, do I have to start here and put 3 cards? If you remember, I started out in the middle. So as questions are being asked from your querent, and they're, wondering about a particular card, you might go to that card right away. And then if you really want to get into the reading in great depth, then you can just start adding 3 cards to each of the cards, and you have a reading that could go on for sure a half hour. And it might even go on to an hour, because there's a lot of information out here. But this is for my beginning students, So we're trying to make it as simple as possible. If you want to keep just the integrity of the 5 cards that first came up, by all means, in the beginning do that, because you're just getting used to learning how to read. But try experimenting and putting some extra cards. As you work with your friends and your victims, as I like to call them, people that you grab, say, please help me practice my readings. I'm a student and don't take anything I take too seriously right now. I'm just practicing, really assure them. But I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised that as you go along, and maybe you're feeling like I'm reading fairly mechanically here, I'm just reading the meaning of the cards, you're going to find that certain things in each card stands out to you and you feel drawn to a particular symbol in a card. Let's say this sun either going down or coming up. Which is it? You decide. And all of a sudden, you're going to click into your intuitive self, you're in the right brain, and you're in the flow, as I call it. And you're going to start getting more information that is much more than here, just on, these little two-dimensional cardboard things. You're really going to get into your psychic self, and you're going to feel that flow. And then as you feel the flow, then you're going to find yourself talking faster, and you realize that, yeah, I'm really on a roll right now. And when I get on a roll like that with a querent, I ask them, can you hold off any questions just for a bit? Because I'm really getting stuff. I'm really getting stuff right now. Let me just get that, and then we'll go into questions and answers. So here you have your 5-card spread. And like I say, left to right, this is the situation or the question being asked. These are past influences or the base of the situation. This is how the client is really feeling about it deep down underneath. And then this is position is what others or events outside of the querent's life that are impacting the question. And then this is your probable outcome. So thank you very much for attending or watching, and we'll see you the next time.